Hello and a good morning, good afternoon and a very good evening to you, the good and wonderful people of the tube. Hope today, hope you're feeling grand and all is well in your world. Welcome to A&Q Wednesday, everybody. This could possibly be the last A&Q Wednesday for a while, as there are no more questions in my inbox. So there are literally none. That's it. But today is the last 4 questions I had in my inbox. And I say, depending on what happens, at this point in time, I'm running a poll. This will be well and truly over by the time this video goes out, but I'm running a poll to see what you want, people of the tube, instead of A&Q Wednesday, and I've given you 2 options. But again, by the time this video comes out, that'll be over and I'll know what I'm doing. At this point in time, I don't. But this could possibly be the last A&Q Wednesday for a while. I'm not going to scrap it off completely. I'll probably do a few here and there, but at this point in time, as far as it goes, well, we don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, PeopleTube, I'll look back this morning just to see when I started A&Q Wednesday, and I started it in 2017. So, yeah, so 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So, yeah, I've been doing it pretty much 5 years. Pretty much 5 years now. Yeah, best part of 5 years, let's just say that. So, that's crazy. Every Wednesday for 5 years, I've done pretty much. I missed a few out when I was in the early days, just because I wasn't as organised as I am. 2018 was a turning point for organisation. But yeah, so anyway, PeopleTube, very cool to know I've been doing it for 5 years, and to say for, I don't know how many episodes there are in this series of A&Qs. They're all in the playlist. But yeah, I am so grateful for everybody who's asked questions. I hope my answers have been good over the years, and I hope they've been somewhat informative. And like I say, this isn't the end of A&Q Wednesday. There will still be some every now and again, I'm sure of it. But we'll see what happens with what you say in the poll, people of the tube. So it's down to you. So anyway, let's get to question 1 today, shall we? Okay, so question 1 today. I thought I'd do an extra long intro jam as well, just because. It's kind of bittersweet in a way. Anyway, question 1 today is, will you be doing any more lessons on artists you admire, like John Frusciante, when the Chili Peppers released a new record, or more Peter Green or Rory Gallagher? Yes, I'll be doing lessons on these people. I can't obviously teach their songs, but I can teach you certain things. I have a Rory Gallagher one planned, where I want to show you some of Rory's guitar tricks. Certain kind of things. There's certain like sleight hand kind of things he would do, harmonic kind of tricks, certain kind of little phrases that Rory would play, and also kind of like how kind of like he would do certain things. So I've got one of those videos planned. I haven't had time to film it yet because it's still processing in my mind. I've got more Peter Green stuff I want to talk about. Yes, I've definitely got loads more John Frusciante stuff I could talk about. That man forever. I've got general guitar stuff I want to talk about, as well as like certain runs and scales and whatnot, and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm going to keep doing those kind of things. I'm going to try and do more of those. It's really difficult for me because my brain doesn't work in that way. So when I have to do a teaching video, I have to get my brain into a different place to where it normally sits, and that's not always possible for me. It's just not the way I am. So I find it quite hard to sometimes go, I'm going to sit down and do a teaching video today, because invariably I've got to be in the right frame of mind for it, otherwise it just won't work, and it'll just become a nightmare, basically. Like for me and for you, because you wouldn't learn anything, and I wouldn't feel like I've taught anything properly. So, but yeah, I do have many more videos planned on the teaching thing. So I want to talk more about like how I use pedals as well. And kind of like, my philosophy on using pedals and amplifiers and setting amps up and setting guitars up and talking about that. I kind of want to speak more about that kind of stuff. And again, not having the A&Q Wednesday might give way to that kind of video more often. The idea of kind of like, instead of a Wednesday kind of like doing one of these, it's kind of an idea of like, I could talk about setting up your own guitar or intonation or just general maintenance to guitars, or general maintenance to pedals, or pedal order, or this, that and the other kind of thing, the experimentation. So it kind of gives me another kind of free space, I'd say, to put other things in there, like teaching and philosophies and all that kind of thing on music and whatnot. But yeah, so yeah, there is more of that stuff coming definitely through the tube. So hope it'll be okay, and I can do you all justice with that. Okay, so yeah, so I hope that's answered your question. Going to move on to question 2 now. So question 2 today. I've got a 2009 Fender Road Worn Strat, and while I love the guitar, it has a few issues that keep it from being perfect. I think you had similar issues with your 2008. So basically, bends choke out beyond the 13th fret. Yep, I had that problem. And the high E is hanging off the edge of the fretboard. Could the truss rod adjustment fix the choking out, or with a fret level maybe? I'm not sure about the high E hanging off the edge of a fretboard issue. It looks misaligned. Okay, yeah, so we'll talk about that one first before we talk about the choking thing. So, any bolt-on neck guitar, Strat, Telecaster, whatever, their necks can move. You can actually accidentally, because they're only held in place by four screws, you can actually accidentally bump the necks on bolt-on necks and misalign the neck. So, invariably, what happens when the high E is nearly hanging off the edge of the neck is the neck wants to be pulled backwards. Sometimes you can do that just by grabbing the lower horn and pulling the neck like that up. But be careful of this one, because you don't want to put too much pressure on that. If it's not going to go, then you don't want to do that. The other way of doing it, and this is the way I do it mainly, that is an option to do that. But this is the way I do it. So what I do is I slack the strings off, and then I unscrew the 4 bolts in the back of the neck. Only a little bit. They literally out of the back plate about 1 millimeter, if that. I just undo the 4 screws. And then what I do is, and then I move it back into place, and then tighten it, and make sure I get the string alignment right first. Because you don't need string tension. You just need to see where they go. And invariably, it's just a kind of a bit of a yuk, and it's back in place. So yours, if your high E's hanging off the bottom of the fretboard, the neck's going, it's kind of like, as you're kind of sat with the guitar, the neck's going towards the ground. So in which case, you want to pull the neck back up to get it back into the right position. This won't hurt the guitar. If anybody's seen Jake E. Lee, who used to play for Ozzy Osbourne, Jake's guitar was an old 70s Strat that was repainted by Charvel and rebranded by Charvel, but it's technically a Fender. And it was a Sunburst originally when Jake got it. But in his words, he said it was the 80s and everyone was having guitars modded, and he had this 70s Sunburst Strat that he wanted to do things to. And he had a mate that worked at Charvel who refinished his guitar and rebranded the guitar Charvel, which apparently he wasn't overly keen on to start with. And that was when he put the humbucker and the 2 single coils in weird ways. And he basically modded the guitar. But his guitar, if you look really closely, is still a 3-bolt neck. So basically his neck was held in by 2 there and 1 in the middle there, like a 70s Strat was, and it had the micro tilt. And Jake, he basically, and it was a hardtail, it didn't have a trem, but Jake would bend the neck so much on that guitar, you would think the guitar had a trem. And he said in a rig rundown, he actually said he tried to break the neck a few times, he said, because it would have made an amazing picture, but it never broke. But he said you did have to literally keep moving the neck back into position because it would get out of alignment, so you just have to smack it back or this, that and the other. Invariably, with some instruments that I've had in the past, you can literally just grab it like this and hit the neck there, and it'll send it back into alignment. But again, it's only occasionally that works. Invariably, I'd play it safe and do the unscrewing of the bolts, and then just kind of move the neck back into alignment. And again, if you unscrew those, look around the front like this, and hold the bottom horn and pull the neck at the top, you'll see the strings move. And it's a very common thing with bolt-on necks. You know, it's a very easy fix as well. You can really easily get around it. It's very, very simple. So yeah. So that's the alignment issue sorted. That will sort that out. And it happens all the time. Another thing it could be, though, it could be the nut is cut wrong. But I doubt it highly. It sounds like a misaligned neck to me. And if you said it looks misaligned, then it invariably is. But my friend Ian, he's got a custom shop Strat, and when he got his custom shop Strat, the custom shop had cut the high E slot so far over that the high E basically hung off the bottom of the fretboard, and it wasn't anything to do with the alignment of the neck. It wasn't anything to do with the saddles in the bridge. It was just simply a fact of the nut was cut wrong. and the string was so far over, and he gave it to a local luthier who I take my guitars to, and he redid the nut, and lo and behold, job's a good one. So yeah, so that could be another thing, but I don't think it will be that. It sounds like it's misaligned, like you say. So like I say, just unscrew the bolts, take the tension off the neck as well, the string tension off, just so they're slack. Just so they're just floppy like spaghetti. They don't want to be coming off the headstock. You need them on to be able to see where the alignment needs to sit. And once you've got kind of like, you go, oh, it's there. That's where it needs to be aligned. Just keep hold of it and screw the neck back tight. And well, not too tight though. It just wants to be kind of like, just tight enough. And invariably, that should be that. Okay. So moving along to the issue of choking out on a road worn. Yeah, my 2008 Road Worn was an absolute piglet for choking out. Anywhere past the 12th fret was basically like not necessarily a no-no, but it was a pig. So what I did to mine to get it to play, I did adjust the truss rod. I slacked the truss rod off and gave the neck quite a bit of banana relief, which made the action really, really high, and I didn't like it. It wasn't the best. I didn't really enjoy it so much. And this is some weird problem that happened with the Road ones. I don't know why Fender let them out of the factory like that. I mean, because sure, they play test them. Because whenever I get a new guitar or I'm setting up the action, what I do, it's very annoying for people around. And it's very annoying for me. But what I do to make sure my guitar plays on every fret is this. I bend up every fret. So I go... and if it doesn't play on every fret like that and bend on every fret like that, then, I bring the strings up minutely until it stops doing it, basically. But my Road one was always a piglet. Funnily enough, actually, what I found, I just remembered, weirdly, because I haven't thought about that guitar in a long time and what I did to it. I sold that guitar in 2017. Funnily enough, around the same time I started doing A&Q Wednesday. It would have been literally at the time I was doing A&Q Wednesday. I wonder if it made it into any intro jams. Anyway, it lives very happily now in Ireland. So, what I did eventually, I think I straightened the neck. I tried to get relief into it. That didn't seem to work. Then I straightened the neck, and that seemed to be better. Having the neck, like, literally straight, which I don't like either. I like a little bit of relief in the necks, because I can kind of... When the neck's perfectly straight, it feels like the guitar's like this, to me. If you kind of slack it off a little bit, it kind of goes... I don't know if that's kind of contrary to kind of certain guitar law, which there isn't such a thing. Like when some people say, oh no, you need the neck perfectly straight because that's the way you get kind of like the most resonance and all this and the other. I don't believe that at all. That's not my experience, personally. But that's me. That's my experience. Because I always like relief in my necks. This one isn't straight, is it? Nope. I don't think any of my guitars are straight. And if they are straight, I can kind of feel it in the string tension. It feels weird. And I don't like it. And invariably, to be honest with you, once I've got the truss rod where I want it, I don't touch the truss rod ever again, to be honest with you. But I remember with my Road Worn, just once tightening the truss rod so the neck was perfectly straight. Because obviously you've got to take the neck off to do it on a Road Worn because it's like a vintage Strat, which is a bit of a piglet, to be honest with you. I'd be very tempted to kind of Dremel out the scratch plate here and the wood so I can actually get to it without taking the neck off, like a lot of people did. And I'm still tempted to do that to quite a few of my vintage style Strats, to be honest with you. Anyway, not the 62 though, that would be ridiculous. I daren't do it on that one. But again, I don't really need to do it on that one. I don't really do it on any of them, to be honest. They're all okay. And I say, once the truss rod's set, you don't need to touch it. It's like intonation. I've never really had intonation wondering. Once it's kind of set, I don't really touch it again. I've never really had it going to go crazy or wappy, to be honest with you, perfectly honest with you, people do. Anyway, like I say, what I did eventually is I took the neck off and I got the neck perfectly straight, like literally as straight as the A1, like just absolutely like a Roman road. Stop your analogies, Dave. Anyway, and then I put the guitar neck back on, and what I did as well is I didn't tighten it too much because I remember there was another thing. When I took the neck off a Road One for the first time, it was on so tight. They must have absolutely cranked it on in the Fender factory because it was so tight. And I was like, ugh, I don't like that. So when I first took the neck off, it cricked and cracked. It went like that, which I always think is never a good thing. And so I took it off, straightened the truss rod, and then put it back on. And I basically do a thing what I call limp wristing, where basically I tighten the screws in until basically with a very kind of weak hand, until eventually the screwdriver just doesn't turn the bolt anymore. So it's in tight enough, but it's not in like this. You know, it doesn't need to be like that. You know, it doesn't need to be like that. So you could give that a go. Another option would be fret leveling. Yeah, definitely. I don't think the Road One's fret jobs were particularly great. I really don't. I've played a few of them in my time, and in all fairness, they've never been that great. The fret jobs have always been a bit higgledy-piggledy. So that's another option. The third option, and this is the drastic option. Is this the third option? I don't know. It's an option. One of them. The other option would be to give it to a luthier and then to change the radius on the fretboard to something a bit flatter, maybe like 9 1/4 or even 12. You know, just to get the fretboard less curved, because there is something about the Road One 7 3/4 radius that's just really odd, especially the early ones. Like I say, mine was 2008, yours is 2009, so it'll be identical, and they are just a bit dodgy sometimes, and unless you've got a really high action. So that's another option. Like I say, but I would go first off. I would try straightening the neck. Then I would try, if that didn't work, I would do fret leveling, and if that didn't work, I would get somebody to plane the neck to a more flatter profile, which is something you shouldn't really have to do. But if you love the guitar, then that's an option. You know what I mean? If you don't want to lose the guitar, that's an option. The other option would be sell that and get something else that's a bit more fitting, you know, to what you want it to do. Because, like I say, those early Road Ones, man, they're absolutely dogged with issues. I had a few with mine, and nothing major, nothing horrific, but there was a few issues here and there where I was a bit like, yeah, that's annoying. Like I say, that guitar had a certain lifetime with me, and it was numbered. By the time it went, I was kind of ready to move it on, so to say. It wasn't really a guitar I wanted in my wheelhouse, so to say, at that point in time. But yeah, so try that. Try those things I've spoken about, and see what happens. Let us know as well, people. And people with a tube. Any more ideas you've got, let us know in the comment section below for this guy. Let us know if you've got any other ideas. Let us know in the comment section below. Let's see if we can help him out and see if we can get his guitar playing right. So, yeah, because Fender, although the Road Ones are absolutely stunning guitars, because they are, Fender really messed up big time on the necks on those. They feel amazing, but they don't play very good once you get past that 12th fret. The 7 3/4 radius down there seems to be ridiculous. I don't know why. It just I don't think I've played a Road One that doesn't choke out. And you do hear it all the time. It chokes out, it chokes out, chokes out. It's just become a thing. Anyway, give that a go. See what you reckon. Let us know how you get on. So, going to move on now to question 3. Yes, question 3. So, question 3 today is, what do you think of Fender Mustangs? I don't think I've ever seen one on your channel. I was wondering if you ever owned one. There is one Mustang, I think, on the channel. It was the old hat videos. I think it was the 4th video I ever did, or 5th video I ever did, I forget, on YouTube. And it was an old 70s natural Mustang that I demoed. And again, those early videos are hysterical because I'm so uncomfortable on the camera, it's really funny. So I have had one Mustang on the channel. I don't think I've had one since. I can't think I have. I really don't think I have. So, yeah, but personally, I really love Mustangs. I want a Mustang, but I know what I want because I've been a lucky bugger. When I worked in Old Hat, I got to play a lot of these old ones, originals, and I know what I want from one. And it's like an SG. I'm yet to find the one that I want. Same with the SGs. I really want an SG, but I'm yet to find the one. So I do love the Mustangs. I think they're absolutely they look cool, they sound cool, they're so unique in the way they are. They're so easy to play as well because they're 3/4, the short scale. Oh, they're just a great guitar. I can see why people like Kurt Cobain love them and other people love them because they're just a very easy guitar to have. I mean, John Frusciante, he wrote Under the Bridge, I think, on a Mustang, and or was it a Music Master? I forget. But yeah, I mean, they're great guitars, and I would love one. But again, I haven't found the right one yet. I haven't found the right one that makes me go, right, I'm getting that. I played quite a lot of them in Old Hat. I played a lot of old ones. I passed, actually. Somebody bought in a Duo Sonic, which is basically a Mustang. It's just basically a simpler switching. It's like Jazzmaster switching instead of the slider switches on a Mustang. Somebody bought in a Duo Sonic which they tried to relic and totally ruined, and offered it to the shop. And I remember Norman wasn't interested in it, and I thought, I might get it. And I can't remember how much he wanted for it, but it was black, well, kind of black. It had been trolleyed. And I passed on it eventually because I picked it up and played it and I was like, it ain't there. It doesn't feel right. And funnily enough, then Norman bought it. After I played it, Norman bought it. And he had it refinished in Fiesta Red. And when it came back, my God, did it look amazing. And at that point, I kind of kicked myself. I was like, oh, I could have had that done. But then I played the guitar again and I was like, nah, wasn't one for me. But it did look amazing in Fiesta Red, it really did. And I do love Mustangs. They are so cool. I got to play a Desert Sand one at one point as well. It's from, I forget the year, 70s one. And it was so cool as well. It looked amazing. It was so battered as well. Like all honest wear on it, the arm wear, everything. It was so good. And the Desert Sand colour was absolutely gorgeous. It had a white scratch plate. And the body was Desert Sand, pearl inlays, rosewood board as dark as the night, and it had been played in, it all pitted. The headstock logo was kind of like barely there. It had the plastic top Cluson machine heads. Original case, it was literally stunning in every shape of the word. It was just amazing, and that guitar was amazing. Funny enough, that came in, it's probably still there. That came in not long before I was kicked out. So I got to play it a bit. Although I'm thinking now, I think that was a Music Master, because there was a Music Master, the Duo Sonic, and the Mustang. And the Mustang basically has the slanted 2 single coil pickups with slider switches. The Duo Sonic has two slanted single coil pickups with a Jazzmaster switching system, and the Music Master is a single pickup volume and tone monster. And Rory Gallagher, he had a Music Master which he modified with 2 Strat pickups. It was in the 80s. He had when he stopped playing his 61 Strat so much, he played the Music Master more, and that's an amazing sounding guitar that was. I actually really like. Funny enough, around that period of time, I actually kind of liked the Music Master sound more than his Strat, and I think that's why Rory played it so much, because at that point in time, Rory had the replacement neck on the 61, and he said the guitar just wasn't right. And I can see what he kind of means, and I know exactly how he feels with that kind of thing. But yeah, so I love Mustangs. Like I said, I'm just waiting for the right one. You know, I doubt very highly you'll never see another Mustang on the channel. I'm just waiting for Mr. Right. Anyway, same with the SGs. You know, I've had a lot of SGs, but none of them ever felt right. None of them ever felt right. And one day, I'm sure I'll find one, but it's not now. For later. But yeah, love Mustangs. People of the Tube, do you like Fender Mustangs? If you do, let us know. If you don't, why don't you like them? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you do, let us know why you like them. Comment section below. Let us know. Okay, so moving on to final question of the day, people of the Tube. Final question of A&Q Wednesday for a while. Possibly, maybe, I don't know. Might be back next week. We'll see. Again, depends on your poll that's going on right now as we speak, but not when this video goes out. Anyway, yes, final question. Question 4. So there's a few parts to question 4. Do you think it matters what sort of guitar lead is used? Is there a brand/type you recommend? As long as the guitar cable's good, no, it doesn't really matter. As long as the cable's good. I've had plenty of guitar cables in the past which are naff, and I've had plenty that are good. In all fairness, I still use a lot of Stag guitar cables. The ones I've got in here are Stag guitar leads. And to be honest with you, I bought a lot of those because they were cheap, readily available at the time, and sounded and were amazing, and still are amazing. I love the sound of these stag leads. I don't know what it is. What I go for now, though, if I'm going to buy a new lead, I buy Fender leads because they're ridiculous. I don't actually have one here that I could show you, but they're the ones with the white jack ends. In all fairness, they're probably my favourite leads I've ever tried and ever used. They're just amazing. They're really, really thick. They sound really good. And, you know, they're just great. They're just great. I really like these Fender leads. And I bought one just to try it one time because I was after something for gigging, because a lot of my leads now are very, very, very old. Some of them probably date back to maybe 2005, 2006. Some of these stag leads I've got that I still use. I've got a stag lead that's in my bedroom that's plugged into my Marshall MG. That's been in my room probably since about 2005, 2006. That lead's still in there. So that's an old lead, that one. I've still got some Stag mic cables as well, which work a treat. I really like the Stag guitar leads. I think they're great. And again, they're affordable. The Fender ones are more expensive. But again, I hope to kind of like, I always think with stuff like leads and stuff like that, it's like, you know, if you're paying a bit more, you're getting a little bit more life. But in all fairness, the Stag leads are still amazing. It's just that nowhere around me stocks them anymore. Because I used to go to the local guitar shop, Musicality, and buy them from there. And I've got quite a lot of them. My entire setup in here is rigged up with Stag guitar leads, and they're amazing. Especially the ones with the flat, the right angle jack and the normal straight on jack. I'm using two of those. One going from the amp into my pedalboard, one going from the pedalboard to the guitar. They're just amazing. I love them, and they sound great. They sound absolutely amazing, and they're really long as well. I think they're like the 30-foot guitar leads I've got, the Stag ones, and I've got one that's 40-foot, which I keep in my guitar bag just in case. And they never sound bad. They never seem to like degrade the signal like to a point where I'm like, oh, that sounds too dull and lifeless. You know, they always sound great. And like say, some of the Stag leads I've got have been through absolute hell, and yet they still like, don't worry, Dave, we've got you. They're amazing. I can't rave enough about Stag guitar leads. I've always loved them. In all fairness, I might buy some more. You can get them online. You can get them off of like Amazon and stuff like that. So I might buy some more of those. But I do love the way the Fender ones feel. They don't get coiled up so much on stage. And they're really, really thick and beefy. Which is really good if you're doing a pub gig and there's people walking around standing on your leads constantly. Because I've lost a lot of leads to people standing on them because they're not paying attention to where they're stood. And they'll kind of like just stand on it and kind of like move around on top of the lead. And you're just like, well, that's that lead knackered then, isn't it? You know, and that's annoying. I don't like that when people do that. It's like, you know, respect the leads. But yeah, I do think leads matter. Because again, I've had some leads in the past as well, which are just naff. I had a Fender coily cable at one point, which I bought thinking, oh, wicked, it was a white one. It looked like Jimi Hendrix, the one that Jimi Hendrix used at Woodstock. So I bought that, and it was like 25 quid, and it basically was like way overpriced. But I bought it because I was like, it looks like Jimi Hendrix's. I had it for a week, and it broke. So what I did, people of the tube, is I went back the next week, and I bought a Stag coily cable, and I've still got it, and it still works. That would have been 2006, and I've still got it downstairs. It still works. It's a bit crackly, but it still works. Hence why I don't gig it anymore. But it was my main gigging lead for a long time because I love coily cables for gigging. Because again, especially if you're in a tiny little pub, they work out really nicely. You should have a lead everywhere. I need to buy a new one actually. It's just reminded me. I must buy more new coily cable. But yeah, so. And again, like I say, that still works now. So where are we? 2006. It would have been 2006, yeah, because it was just before I went to London I got that lead. And I used it when I was in London. I used it for all the gigs after. I stopped using it towards the end of Duke's Deluder because... I stopped using it after Duke's Deluder packed up. because it developed a bit of a crackle. Still works as long as it doesn't move. It's no longer good for being a lead from your pedal board to your guitar, but it's still a great lead if you're going to go from like pedal board to your amp, so to say. So, but yeah, I don't know how many years that is. Many. Somebody can say. I can't do the maths quick enough. But yeah, they're amazing. I do think leads are important because again, I've had some really bad leads. I had a what was it called? It was supposed to be an amazing lead, and I forget exactly what it was, but it was really bad. It sounded crap. It went in the bin, actually. It didn't even break. I just thought, I can't give this to anybody. It sounds that bad. It was purple, and I got it from this guitar shop in Grimsby, and it was absolute garbage. I used it for like a week and then just put it in the bin because it was rubbish. It wasn't ridiculous expensive, but it was just a bit meh. And I went back to the stag leads. I've still got a Piranha Monoflex lead. The Piranha leads were really good. I don't know if they still do those, but I've still got a Piranha leads up there, 2 of them. They're my effects loop leads at this point in time. But they're amazing. The jacks are bent on them, something horrifically, but they still work. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing what some of these leads can do. But yeah, leads do make a difference. They really do. And again, I would recommend Stag, or if you want to spend a bit more money, get the Fender ones with the white jacks. They're amazing. But I do love me Stag leads, I've got to say. Okay, so another part of question 4 is, when I order strings, would I be best with 9s or 10s to start with? That's really personal preference. I really like 9s, personally. I do like certain guitars that I've got want 10s, like the Jet here. When I restrung it, wanted 10s, and they feel really good on this guitar. 10s do. But mostly all my Les Pauls are 9s. My Red Oswald is 9s. Do I have any other Strats with 9s? I'm pretty sure I do. I just can't think of which ones they are. I've got one with 7s now. I've got a Strat with 7s. You'll see that in a few... I don't know when, but you'll see it at some point, PivoTube. It's a very interesting looking Stratocaster, I've got to say, but it's got gauge 7s on it. It's got Billy Gibbons strings on it, and it's so much fun. But when it comes down to strings, I mean, I don't know. What I would say, if you're not sure, and if you can afford to, because strings are quite expensive. I mean, as guitarists, we're kind of lucky though, because, bass strings, price of those. We're kind of lucky in that respect, because the guitar strings are like a fraction of the price of bass strings. But what I would say, if you can afford it, is get both and try both. So get a pack of 10s, get a pack of 9s, and try both and see which one you prefer. Because you never know. You might like 10s, you might like 9s. But again, it's such a personal thing, string gauges, that it really comes down to kind of like, what you like, not what anybody else tells you should like, or what they tell you should use. I've been told over the years, like a million times, that I run my strings wrong, because I have 10s mainly on my Fender style guitars, and I have 9s on all my Gibson style guitars. The East Coast there has got 9s on it. I hate the feel of 10s on a Les Paul or any Gibson style or length guitar. I can't stand it. It just feels wrong. As soon as I put 9s on it, it's like, whereas with my Fender guitars, they vary, they fluctuate. It depends on the guitar. Like I say, I've got some with 9s, some with 10s. I never go any further than that, really. I don't go to 11s or 12s. I think that's just... I want to play into my old age. I don't want carpal tunnel syndrome or tendonitis or anything, that kind of thing. I don't want the guitar to fight me. I want to be able to play it. I want it to be easy because I want to be able to play, and I don't want anything to get in the way of that. So that's what I would recommend: is get one of each set and just see which ones you prefer. Just spend like an hour or so, like putting the 10s on it and then carefully taking them off and then putting the 9s on it and see which ones you prefer. It should become plainly obvious, to be honest with you, to you when you do it and go, oh, well, I prefer the 9s or I prefer the 10s. So it's really up to you, really, on that one. I can't really say, get these, get those, they're the ones for you, because, again, I'm not you, I don't know. But I can advise, that's what I would advise. Try both, because you never know. And maybe get some 8s as well. If you can afford to stretch that far, maybe get some 8s, 9s, and 10s and go between all three. And you never know, you might love 8s. You never know. It's worth trying them out. It really is. Because, like I say, it's took me a long time to kind of like find the right kind of feel. But again, different guitars want different strings gauges. They really do. I don't like hybrid sets. I found that out. I don't like the 9.5s or the 10.5s. I've tried those. I don't like them. I'm either a 9s or a 10s person. It's as simple as that. In all fairness, if I could and my guitars all wanted it, I would go to 9s on everything because I love gauge 9s. To me, when I play, they're the most even and they just feel the best. They feel great. But again, certain guitars want 10s, and if that's what they want, that's what I'll give them because they know better than I do, and music knows better than I do. So that's what I'd recommend. So last part of question for today is, when I had an Ibanez years ago, I was told to line the body cavities with copper tape. Is that still something that's recommended? Yeah, I mean, that cuts down on RF interference. What I would recommend instead of the copper tape is Crimson Guitars shielding paint. That stuff is amazing. And shielding paint, I think, is better than sitting there for hours and hours and hours with copper tape or silver aluminium tape trying to make a bloody Faraday cage with that. It's a lot easier to get like shielding paint and just paint all the cavities. The cavity of the jet's all done. The cavities of the East Coast are all painted out. I think that's just a lot easier than spending hours and loads of frustration and sticky fingers on using copper tape and aluminium tape, shielding tape, so to say. So if that's the case, yeah, if your guitar isn't already shielded, which most are in this day and age, like I say, this guitar is, and like I say, the East Coast is, and these are really cheap guitars. But if these are shielded, then invariably any guitar should be shielded. I think most guitar companies these days use shielding paint. I haven't found many guitars recently that aren't shielded. To be honest with you, they're all that way. So yeah, but if your guitar isn't, I would recommend that shielding paint definitely because that's such a easier way of doing it. I mean, granted, you got to remove all the electronics out the cavity and then paint it in, wait for it to dry and cure, and then put it all back together. But it's worth it if it's going to cut down on that kind of crazy RF interference you get. Because sometimes that RF interference, if you're playing live or somewhere, it can drive you balmy. Funny enough, actually, there's a great video of Rory Gallagher playing on a German TV show, and my God, the buzz coming from his amplifiers is as loud as his guitar because he's in a TV studio with lights and cameras and all sorts of stuff, and it's crazy the amount of buzz that's coming from all his gear. It sounds atrocious, but he keeps going because there's nothing he can do about it. It is what it is, which is cool. Anyway, there you go, PeopleTube. Like I say, this could be the last A&Q Wednesday for a while. I don't know at this point in time. We'll see what happens next week. If there's an A&Q next Wednesday, we'll find out. I'll see you then. And if not, it'll be another video. Either way, thank you very much indeed, people of the tube. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I've answered your questions okay. If you like the videos I do here, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon. Really helps me out. It's the only thing keeping this channel going. I say the only thing keeping this channel going. It's the only thing keeping it going that's I can do, if that makes any sense. It's keeping the lights on and the electricity flowing. Let's put it that way. Because and I'm so grateful. Why don't words exist to just explain how grateful I am to the people on Patreon who support me? Because literally, you're all amazing. So yeah, if you do like the videos, please consider becoming a patron. It really does help. Like I say, it keeps the electricity on, it keeps the lights on, it keeps me fed and alive. So, and again, I'm so grateful for that, and it gives me the ability to live my dream, and I can't ask for anything more. I really can't. There is literally nothing more I ask for. I'm so grateful to every single one who supports me on Patreon, and anyone who supports me here, subscribes, comments, just thank you so much indeed. Your support means the absolute world to me. It really does. And the words don't exist. I wish they did. It really annoys me. I just, sometimes. But anyway, hopefully the guitar can explain it better than I can. But yeah, like I say, if you want to, please consider that. There's also links to my Bandcamp below as well, where you can go and listen to some of the music I've done over the years. Stuff with the trio, stuff with Queenie, stuff on my own, stuff with John Joe. I'll also link to my Teespring as well. Anyway, PeopleTube, I hope you enjoyed this vid. I'll see you again on Friday for another video. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening, and I will see you again. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. I've already said it twice.